Dr. Harper. In just 2 short years, you've managed to capture the spirit of Brooklyn.
That's very gratifying, Miss Brewster.
You see, living here next to a church all our lives, we've seen so many ministers come and go. We always say the spirit of Brooklyn is friendliness, and your sermons aren't so much sermons as they are friendly talks.
Personally, I've always enjoyed my talks with Cardinal Gibbons. Or have I met him yet?
No, dear, not yet. Are the biscuits any good?
Fully.
Would you like another biscuit, Dr. Harper?
Oh no, I'm afraid I'll have no appetite for dinner now. I always eat too many of your biscuits just to taste that lovely jam.
But you haven't even tried the quince. We always put a little apple in with it to take the tartness out.
No, thank you.
We'll send you over a jar.
No, you keep it here so I can be sure of having your biscuits with it.
I do hope they don't make us use that imitation flour again. I mean, what with this war trouble and all? It may not be a very charitable thing for me to say, but I've almost come to the conclusion that this Mr. Hitler isn't a Christian.
If only Europe were on another planet.
Europe, sir.
Yes, Teddy.
Point your gun the other way.
Gun?
Teddy?
To the west. There's your danger. There's your enemy. Japan.
Why, yes, of course.
Now, Teddy.
No, Aunt Tabby. Let's talk about Europe and more about the canal.
Well, let's not talk about war. Would you like another cup of tea, dear?
No, thank you, Aunt Tabby.
Dr. Harper?
No, thank you. I must admit, Miss Abby, that war and violence seem far removed from these surroundings.
It is peaceful here, isn't it?
Yes, peaceful. The virtues of another day. They're all here in this house. The gentle virtues that went out with candlelight and good manners and low taxes.
It's one of the oldest houses in Brooklyn. It looks just as it did when Grandfather Brewster built it and furnished it, except for the electricity, and we use that as little as possible. Why, it was Mortimer who convinced us to put it in.
Yes, I can understand that. Your nephew Mortimer seems to live only by electric light.
He has to work so late, the poor boy. I understand he's taking Elaine with him to the theater again tonight. Teddy, your brother Mortimer, will be here a little later.
Delighted.
We're so happy it's Elaine Mortimer takes to the theater with him.
Well, it's a new experience for me to wait up until 3 o'clock in the morning for my daughter to be brought home.
Oh, Dr. Harper, I hope you don't disapprove of Mortimer.
Well,
we'd feel so guilty if you did. Sister Martha and I mean, since it was here in our home that your daughter met Mortimer.
I know, Miss Abby, and so I'll say immediately that I believe Mortimer himself to be quite a worthy gentleman. But I must also admit that I've watched the growing intimacy between him and my daughter with some trepidation. And for one reason, Miss Abby.
You mean his stomach, Dr. Harper?
Stomach?
His dyspepsia. He's bothered by it so, poor boy.
No, Miss Abby, I'll be frank with you. I'm speaking of your nephew's unfortunate connection with the theater.
The theater? Oh, no, Dr. Harper. Mortimer writes for a New York newspaper.
I know, Miss Abby, I know. But a dramatic critic is constantly exposed to the theater. And I don't doubt that what some of them do develop an interest in.
Oh, why not Mortimer? You need have no fear of that. Why, Mortimer hates the theater.
Really?
Oh, yes, he writes such awful things about it. He was so happy writing about real estate, which he really knew something about, and then they went and made him take this terrible night position.
My.
But, as he says, the theater can't last much longer, and in the meantime, it's a living. Yes, I think if we give the theater another year or two, perhaps. Now, who do you suppose that is? No, thank you, Teddy dear. I'll go. Oh, good morning, Mr. Brophy.
Hello, Miss Brewster.
How are you, Mr. Klein?
Very well, Miss Brewster. What news have you brought me?
Colonel, we have nothing new to report.
Splendid! At ease, gentlemen, at ease.
You know Dr. Harper.
Sure, hello, Dr. Harper.
We come for the toys for the Christmas fund.
Oh, yes.
That's a splendid work you men do. Fixing up discarded toys to give poor children a happier Christmas.
Well, it gives us something to do when we have to sit around the station. You get tired playing cards, and then you start cleaning your gun, and the first thing you know, you've shot yourself in the foot.
Teddy, why don't you go upstairs to your Aunt Martha's room and get that big box? How is Mrs. Brophy feeling? She's been feeling quite ill, Dr. Harper.
Pneumonia.
I'm sorry to hear that. She's doing better. A little weak still.
I'll go get you some beef broth to take to her.
Don't bother, Miss Abby. You've done so much for her already.
Oh, but we made it this morning. Sister Martha's taking some to poor Mr. Benitsky right now. It won't take a minute. Please, sit down and be comfortable, all of you.
She really shouldn't go to all the trouble.
Listen, try to stop her or her sister from doing something nice. And for nothing. They don't even care how you vote.
When I received my call to Brooklyn and moved next door, my wife wasn't well. When she died, and for months before. Well, if I knew what absolute generosity and pure kindness are, it's because I've known the Brewster sisters.
not to do that.
But I need to call a cabinet meeting in order to get a release of those supplies.
He used to do that in the middle of the night. The neighbors raised Cain with us. They're a little afraid of him anyway.
Oh, he's quite harmless.
Suppose he does think he's Teddy Roosevelt. There's a lot worse people he could think he was.
It's a damn shame. A nice family like this one hatching a cuckoo.
Well, his father, the old girl's brother, was some sort of a genius, wasn't he? And their father, Teddy's grandfather, well, it seems to me I've heard he was a little crazy as well.
Screams like a fox, made $1 million.
Really? Here in Brooklyn?
Yep, patent medicine. I heard he's a bit of a quack too. Old Sergeant Edwards remembers him. Said he used the place as a clinic to try him out on people.
Yeah, I hear he used to make mistakes occasionally as well.
Yeah, the force never bothered him much though, because he's helpful on autopsies sometimes, especially poison cases.
Well, whatever he did, he left his daughters fixed for life. Thank God for that.
Not that they ever spend a dime of it on themselves.
Yes, I'm well acquainted with their charities.
Oh, you don't know a tenth of it. When I was with the Missing Persons Bureau, I was trying to trace an old man we never did find. Did you know that there's a renting agency that's got this house down on its list for furnished rooms? Well, they don't rent rooms, but you can bet that anybody who comes here looking for a room goes away with a good meal and a few dollars in their kick.
Just their way of digging up people to do some good too.
Well, now, isn't this nice? You, Mr. Brophy, Dr. Harper, Mr. Klein.
All right, Miss Brewster. Oh, we dropped in for the Christmas toys.
Oh, yes, Teddy's Army and Navy. They wear out. They're all packed.
Teddy's upstairs asking him already. It seems the cabinet has to okay it.
Oh, yes, of course. I hope Mrs. Brophy's better.
She's doing fine, man. Your sister's getting some soup for me to take to her right now.
Yes, we made it this morning. I just took some to a poor man who broke ever so many bones. Oh, you're back, Martha. How was Mr. Benitsky? Oh, well, dear, it's pretty serious, I'm afraid. The doctor was in. He's going to amputate in the morning. Can we be present? No. I asked him, but he says it's against the rules of the hospital.
You couldn't be of any service, and you must spare yourself something.
Here's the broth, Mr. Brophy. Be sure it's good and hot.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, this is fine. That'll make a lot of kids happy. That O'Malley boy sure is nuts about soldiers.
Oh, that's General Miles. A retired him. What's this? The Oregon.
Now, Teddy, here, put it back.
But the Oregon goes to Australia.
Teddy.
No, I've given my word to Fighting Bob Evans.
But Teddy.
Oh, what's the difference what kid gets it? Bobby Evans, Izzy Cohen. We'll run along, ma'am, and thank you very much.
Oh, not at all. Goodbye.
I must be getting home.
Before you go, Dr. Harper.
Charge! Charge the blockhouse!
The blockhouse.
The stairs are always San Juan Hill.
Have you ever tried to persuade him that he wasn't Teddy Roosevelt?
Oh, no. He's so happy being Teddy Roosevelt. Once, a long time ago, remember, Martha, we thought it would be a nice change for him if he were George Washington. But he just stayed under his bed for days and wouldn't be anybody. And we'd so much rather he be Mr. Roosevelt than nobody.
Well, if he's happy, and what's more important, you're happy. You'll see that Teddy signs these.
What are they? Dr. Harper has made all arrangements for Teddy to go to Happydale Sanitarium after we pass on. But why should Teddy sign any papers now?
It's better to have it all settled now. If the Lord should take you away suddenly, perhaps we couldn't persuade Teddy to commit himself, and that would mean an unpleasant legal procedure. Mr. Witherspoon understands they're to be filed away until the time comes to use them.
Mr. Witherspoon, who's he?
He's the superintendent of Happydale.
Dr. Harper has arranged for him to drop by either tomorrow or the next day to meet Teddy.
Well, I must be running along, or Elaine will be over here looking for me.
Oh, give our love to Elaine. And Dr. Harper, please don't think harshly of Mortimer because he's a dramatic critic. Somebody has to do those things. Did you just have tea? Isn't it rather late? Yes, and dinner's going to be late too. So, why? Teddy, good news for you. You're going back down to Panama and dig another lock for the canal.
Delighted. That's bully, just bully. I shall prepare for the journey at once. Charge!
Howdy, well, I was out. Yes, I didn't know when you'd be back, and Dr. Harper Martha. Just look in the window seat. Come in, dear.
Good afternoon, Miss Abby. Good afternoon, Miss Martha. I thought Father was here.
He just this minute left. Did you meet him?
No, I took the shortcut through the cemetery. Mortimer hasn't come by yet.
No, dear.
Well, he told me to meet him here. Do you mind if I wait?
Not at all. Why don't you sit down, dear? But we really must speak to him about doing this to you.
Doing what?
Well, he was brought up to know better. When a gentleman is taking a young lady out, he should call for her at her house.
Oh, there's something about calling for a woman at a parsonage that discourages any man who doesn't embroider.
He's done this far too often. We're going to speak to him.
Oh, please don't. After young men whose idea of nightlife was taking me to prayer meeting, it really is quite wonderful to go to the theater almost every night of my life.
Well, it's comforting for us, too, because if Mortimer has to see some of those plays he has to see, at least he's sitting next to a minister's daughter.
Oh, Elaine, what must you think of us not having tea cleared away by this time?
Now, don't bother with anything in the kitchen until Mortimer's home, and then I'll help you. Mortimer should be here any minute now.
Yes, well, Father must have been surprised not to find me at home. I should probably go say goodnight to him.
It's a shame you missed him, dear.
If Mortimer comes by, you tell him I'll be right back.
Oh, hello, Mort.
Hello, Elaine. Oh, hello, Aunt Martha.
Abby, Mortimer's here.
Oh, were you going somewhere?
I was just going over to tell Father not to wait up for me.
I didn't know that was still being done, even in Brooklyn.
Oh, hello, Mortimer.
Hello, Aunt Abby.
How are you, dear?
I'm well, and you're looking well yourself. You haven't changed much since yesterday.
My goodness, it was yesterday, wasn't it? We're seeing a great deal of you lately. Well, come, sit down, sit down.
Abby.
Haven't we things to do in the kitchen? No. Tea things? Oh, the tea things! Yes, the tea things. Well, you two just make yourselves at home. Just make yourselves at home.
Well, can't you take a hint?
No. That was pretty obvious. And lacking inventiveness, I should say.
Yes, that's exactly what you'd say.
Where do you want to go for dinner?
I don't care. I'm not very hungry.
Well, I just had breakfast. What say we wait till after the show?
Well, that'll make it rather late, won't it?
Not with the little stinker we're seeing tonight. From what I've heard, we'll be out of there by 10:30.
You ought to be fair to these plays.
Are these plays fair to me?
I've never seen you walk out on a musical.
The musical isn't airing tonight.
No?
No, darling, you've got to learn the rules. With the musical, there's always 3 changes of title and 4 postponements. They liked it in New Haven, but it needs a lot of work.
I was hoping it'd be a musical.
You have such a light mind.
Not a bit. Musicals seem to have a humanizing effect on you. After a serious play, we join the proletariat in the subway, and I listen to a lecture on the drama. After a musical, you take me home in a taxi, and you make a few passes.
Now, darling, that's hardly an accurate piece of reporting.
Oh, I will admit that after the Berman play, you told me I had an authentic beauty. And that's a hell of a thing to say to a girl. It wasn't until after our first musical you told me I had nice legs. And I have, too.
For a minister's daughter, you know a lot about life. Where'd you learn it?
The choir loft.
I'll have to explain that to you sometime, dear. The close connection between eroticism and religion.
Religion never gets as high as the choir loft. Which reminds me, I should go tell Father not to wait for me tonight.
I've never been able to rationalize
What?
my falling in love with a girl who lives in Brooklyn.
Falling in love? You're not stooping to the articulate, are you?
The only way I can keep my self-respect is to keep you in New York.
Did you say keep?
Not at all, darling. I'm convinced you're holding out for the legalities.
I can afford to be a good girl for quite a few years yet.
And I can't wait that long. Where's somewhere we could be married in a hurry? Say, tonight?
I'm afraid Father would insist on officiating.
Oh, God. I'm afraid your father can make even the marriage services sound pedestrian.
Are you by any chance writing a review of it?
Forgive me, darling. It's an occupational disease. I might give that play tonight a good notice.
No, darling, don't pretend you love me that much.
Be sure to tell your father not to wait up for you tonight.
I think I better tell him to wait up.
I'll telephone Winchell and tell him to publish the bans.
Nevertheless.
All right. Everything formal and legal, but not later than next month.
Oh, darling, I'll talk it over with Father and set the date.
No. We'll have to see what's in rehearsal. There are plenty of other first days in October. Hello, Mortimer! Hello, Mr. President. How are you?
Fully, thank you, just fully. What news have you brought me?
Just this, Mr. President. The country is squarely behind you.
Yes, I know. Isn't it wonderful? Well, goodbye. Goodbye.
Where are you off to, Teddy?
Panama. Panama's the cellar. He keeps locks to the canal down there.
You're so kind to him. And he's very fond of you.
Well, Teddy always was my favorite brother.
Favorite? Were there more of you?
There was another brother, Jonathan.
Jonathan. I've never heard of him. Your aunts never mentioned him.
No, we don't like to talk about Jonathan. He left Brooklyn very early, by request. He was the type of boy that liked to cut worms in half, with his teeth.
What became of him?
Well, I don't know. He wanted to be a surgeon like his grandfather, but he wouldn't go to medical school first, and his profession got him in trouble.
Aren't you two going to be late for the theater?
Oh, we're not going to dinner. We're skipping dinner. We won't have to start for another half hour.
Oh, well then I'll leave you two alone together again.
Oh, don't bother, darling. I should probably go say goodnight to Father. Before I go out with you, he likes to pray over me a little. I'll be right back. I'll take the shortcut through the cemetery.
Well, now, darling, if the prayer isn't too long, I'd have time to lead you beside distilled waters.
Why, Mortimer, that's the first time I've ever heard you quote the Bible. We knew Elaine would be a good influence on you.
By the way, I'm going to marry her.
What? Oh, darling! Martha! Martha, come in here. I've got the most wonderful news for you. Mortimer and Elaine are going to be married. Married? Oh, Mortimer. Oh, we hoped it would happen just like this.
Well, Elaine must be the happiest girl in the world.
Happy. Just look at her leaping through those gravestones. Say, what's that?
What's what, dear?
It's Rendina Carnina.
Oh no, dear, that's Emma B. Stout ascending to heaven.
No, there on Mrs. Stout's left ear. That's a red-crested swallow. Well, I've only seen one of those before in my life.
I don't know how you can be thinking about a bird at a time like this. What with Elaine and the engagement and everything.
Well, it's a vanishing species. Thoreau was very fond of them. By the way, I left a large envelope somewhere around here last week. It was one of my chapters on my book on Thoreau. Have you seen it?
Well, if you left it here, it must be here somewhere.
When are you going to be married? What are your plans? There must be something else you can tell us about Elaine.
Elaine? Oh, yes, Elena. Elaine thought it was brilliant.
What was, dear?
Oh, my chapter on Thoreau.
Well, when Elaine gets back, I think we ought to have a little celebration. We must reap to your happiness. Martha, isn't there some of that Lady Baltimore cake left over?
Oh, yes.
And I'll open a bottle of wine. And to think it happened in this room.
Now, where could I have put that?
Well, with your fiancé sitting beside you tonight, I hope the play can be something you can enjoy for once. It may even be something romantic. What's the name of it?
Murder Will Out. When the curtain opens, the first thing you'll see will be a dead body. Aunt Abby!
Yes, dear.
You were going to make arrangements for Teddy to go to that sanitarium, Happydale.
Oh, yes, dear. Dr. Harper dropped by today with these papers for Teddy to sign. Here they are.
He's got to sign them right away.
Now, there's no such hurry as that.
He's got to sign them this instant. He's down in the cellar. Get him up here.
Oh, that's not until after we're gone, dear.
Teddy's got to go to Happydale now, tonight.
Mortimer, how can you say such a thing? Why, as long as we live, we'll never be separated from Teddy.
Listen, darlings, I'm frightfully sorry, but I'm afraid I have some terrible news about Teddy. Now, we've all got to try and keep our heads about this. Know that we've always sort of entertained Teddy because we figured he was harmless.
Why, he is harmless.
He was harmless! That's why he's got to go to Happydale now, to be contained.
Why, Mortimer, why have you suddenly turned against Teddy, your own brother?
Well, I am... Oh, you've got to know sometime. It might as well be now. Teddy's killed a man.
Nonsense, dear.
There's a body in the window seat.
Yes, dear, we know.
You know?
Of course we know, but it has nothing to do with Teddy.
Now, Mortimer, just forget about it. Forget you ever saw the gentleman.
Forget?
We never dreamed you'd peek.
Well, who is he?
His name is Hoskins, Adam Hoskins. That's really all I know about him, except that he's a Methodist.
That's all you know about him? Well, what happened to him?
He died.
Oh, Aunt Martha, men just don't get into window seats and die.
No, he died first.
Well, how?
Oh, Mortimer, don't be so inquisitive. The man died because he drank some wine with poison in it.
How did the poison get into the wine?
Well, we put it in the wine because it's less noticeable. When it's in tea, it has such a distinct odor.
You put it in the wine?
Yes, and I put Mr. Hoskins in the window seat because Dr. Harper was coming.
So you knew what you'd done. You didn't want Dr. Harper to see the body.
Well, not a tea. That wouldn't have been very nice. Now, Mortimer, you know the whole thing. Just forget about it. I do think Martha and I have the right to our own little secrets.
And don't you tell Elaine. Abby, while I was out, I dropped in on Mrs. Schultz, and she's doing much better. But she'd like us to take Junior to the movies again.
Oh, yes. We must do that either tomorrow or the next day.
Yes, but this time we'll go where we want to go. Junior's not going to drag me into another one of those scary pictures.
Hello, Al? Do you know who this is? Yes, that's right. Now, when I left the office this morning, I told you where I was going. Where did I say? Yes, now it would have taken me about a half an hour to get to Brooklyn. Say, what time had you got? Yes, that's right. Huh, I must be here. And Abby and Martha, come in here! What are we going to do? What are we going to do?
What are we going to do about what, dear?
There's a body in there!
Yes, Mr. Hoskins.
Good heavens, I can't turn you into the police! But what am I going to do?
Well, for one thing, dear, stop being so excited.
And for pity's sake, stop worrying. We told you to forget all about it.
My dear Aunt Abby, can't I make you realize that something has to be done?
Now, Mortimer, you behave yourself. You're too old to be flying off the handle like this.
But Mr. Hotchkiss...
Hoskins, dear.
Well, whatever his name is, you can't leave him in there!
We don't intend to, dear.
No, Teddy's downstairs now, digging another lock.
You're going to bury Mr. Hotchkiss in the cellar?
Yes, that's what we did with the others.
No, that's insane! Others?
The other gentleman.
Others. As in more than one? Others?
Oh, yes, dear. This makes, let me see, 11. Now, doesn't it, Abby?
No, dear, this makes 12.
No, dear, I think you're wrong. I think this is only 11.
No, because I remember when Mr. Hoskins came in, it occurred to me that he would make just an even dozen.
Oh, well, you really shouldn't count the first one, should you?
Oh, well, I was counting the first one, so that makes 12.
Hello? Oh, my. Hello, Al. It's good to hear your voice.
Well, anyway, they're all down in the cellar.
No, Al. I'm sober as a lark. I just called because I was feeling a little pirantello. Never mind. You wouldn't know, Al. Listen, you've got to do me a favor. Get a hold of George. He's got to cover the play tonight. I can't make it. No, Al, you're wrong. But George has got to cover the play tonight. Now, you listen to me, Al. This is my department, and I'm running it. You get a hold of George. All right. Now, where were we? 12!
Abby thinks you ought to count the first one, and that makes 12.
Well, all right. Who was the first one?
Mr. Midgley, he was a Baptist.
Now, I still don't think we can count him because he just died.
Martha wasn't without any help from us. You see, he came here looking for a room.
It was right after you moved to New York.
And it seemed such a waste for that lovely room to go empty when there are so many people who need it.
He was such a lonely old man.
All his kith and kin were dead and left him so forlorn and unhappy.
We felt so sorry for him.
And then when his heart attack came, and he sat dead, right in that chair, looking so peaceful. Remember, Martha? Well, we decided right then and there if we could help other lonely old men to the same peace, we would.
He just walked in here and died? How awful for you.
Oh, no, dear. Why, it was rather like old times. Your grandfather always used to have a cadaver or two laying around the house. You see, Teddy was down digging in Panama, and he thought Mr. Midgley was a yellow fever victim.
That meant he had to be buried immediately.
So we all took him down to Panama and placed him in the lock. Now, that's why we told you not to worry about it, because we know what has to be done.
So that's how all this started. With that man just walking in here and dropping dead.
Of course, we realized we couldn't depend on that happening again, so...
Do you remember those jars of poison laying in the shelves of your grandfather's laboratory for all these years?
You know your Aunt Martha's knack for mixing things. You've eaten enough of her piccalilli.
Well, for 1 gallon of elderberry wine, I take 1 teaspoonful of arsenic, 1/2 teaspoonful of strychnine, and just a pinch of cyanide.
You should have quite a kick.
Oh yes, one of our gentlemen found time to say how delicious.
Well, I'd better get things started in the kitchen.
I wish you could stay for dinner.
I'm trying out a new recipe.
Oh, I couldn't eat a thing.
Well, I'm so happy now. You have to wait for Elaine, don't you? How happy you must be. Well, dear, I'll leave you alone with your thoughts again.
Ross, darling. Father could see how excited I was, so I told him about us, and that made it difficult for me to get away. But listen, he's not going to wait up for us tonight.
Elaine, you run along home, and I'll call you up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
You know I always call you up in a day or two.
But we're going to the theater tonight.
No, we're not.
Well, why not?
Listen, Elaine, something's come up.
Why? Mortimer, you've lost your job.
No, I haven't lost my job. I'm just not covering that play tonight.
Well, what's going on, darling? Certainly you can tell me.
No, I can't.
But if we're going to be married...
Married?
Have you forgotten that not 15 minutes ago you proposed to me?
I did? Huh. Oh, I did! Oh, well, yes, as far as I know, that's still on. Now, you run along home. I've got to do something.
Listen, you can't propose to me 1 minute and then throw me out of the house the next.
Darling, I'm not throwing you out of the house. Now, will you get out of here?
No, I will not get out of here, Elaine!
Hold on a minute. All right, it's important. But it can hold on a minute, can't it? Just hold on. Listen, Elaine, you're a sweet girl, and I love you very much. I want you to go home now because I've got something on my mind and wait for me to call you up.
Don't try to be masterful.
I hope when we're married and I have problems to face, you're less tedious and uninspired.
When we're married, if we're married, I hope I find you adequate.
Elaine! Elaine! Hello? Al? Hello? Hello?
That's the doorbell, dear, not the telephone. How do you do? Come in.
I understand you have a room to rent.
Yes, won't you step in?
Are you the lady of the house?
Yes, I'm Miss Brewster, and this is my sister, another Miss Brewster.
My name is Gibbs.
Oh, won't you sit down? We were just setting the table for dinner.
Hello? City desk. Yes, let me talk to Al again. Al. City desk. Hello? Oh. Oh, I'm sorry, wrong number.
May I see the room?
Now, why don't you sit down a minute and let's get acquainted?
That won't do too much good if I don't like the room.
Is Brooklyn your home?
Haven't got a home. Live in a hotel. Don't like it.
Hello? City desk.
Are your family Brooklyn people?
Haven't got any family.
All alone in the world.
Yep.
Well, Martha. Well, you've come to just the right house. Do sit down.
Hello, Al? Oh, Mort, we got cut off. Listen, I can't cover the play tonight. I just can't. That's all there is to it.
What church do you go to? There's an Episcopal church practically next door.
I'm Presbyterian. Used to be.
Well, what's George doing in Bermuda? Well, certainly I told him he could go to Bermuda. It's my department, isn't it? Well, there's got to be someone around the office. You look around. I'll hold on.
Is there always this much noise?
Oh no, he doesn't live with us.
Listen, Al, what about the office boy? You know, the office boy, the bright one, the one we don't like. Well, there's got to be someone. I'll hold on.
I'd really like to see the room.
Oh, it's upstairs. Why don't you try some of our wine before you start up?
Never touch it.
We make it ourselves. Elderberry wine.
Elderberry wine. I haven't had elderberry wine since I was a boy. Thank you.
Listen, Al, what about a printer? The fellow who sets my copy. His name is Joe. He's the third machine from the left. He ought to know about what I write. But Al, he could turn out to be another Burns Mantle.
Do you have your own elderberry bushes?
No, but the cemetery's full of them.
No, I'm not drinking, but I'm gonna start now.
Do you serve meals?
We might, but just try our wine first.
Mortimer.
Mortimer, not that. Mortimer.
Huh? Huh? Get out. Do you want to be murdered? Do you want to be poisoned? Do you want to be killed? Get out!
Now you've spoiled everything.
I don't know how to explain this to you, but you can't do things like that. It's not just illegal, it's wrong. It's not a very nice thing to do. People wouldn't understand. He wouldn't understand.
Abby, we shouldn't have told Mortimer.
Look, all I'm saying is that this has developed into a very bad habit.
Mortimer, we don't try to stop you from doing the things you like to do. I don't see why you should interfere with us.
Hello? But Al, All right. I'll see the first act and I'll pan the hell out of it. But listen, Al, you've got to do something for me. Get a hold of O'Brien. O'Brien, our lawyer, the head of our legal department. Yes, you tell him to meet me at the theater. All right, now don't let me down, Al. Okay, I'm starting now. Listen, I've got to come to play tonight. I can't get out of it. But before I go, will you promise me something?
We'd have to know what it was first.
Now, darlings, you know that I love you very much, and I know you love me. You know I'd do anything in the world for you, and I want you to do this one little thing for me.
What do you want us to do?
Don't do anything! And I mean don't do anything. Don't let anyone else in this house while I'm gone, and leave Mr. Hoskins right where he is.
Why?
Because I want time to think. And you know I've got quite a little bit to think about. You know I wouldn't want anything to happen to you.
Well, what on earth could happen to us?
Will you please do what I'm asking of you?
Well, we were planning on holding services before dinner.
Services?
Certainly. Why, you don't think we'd bury Mr. Hoskins without a full Methodist service, do you? Why, he was a Methodist.
Can't that wait until I get back?
Yes, then you could join us.
Yes. Yes!
Oh, Mortimer, you'll love the services, especially the hymns. Oh, remember how beautifully Mortimer used to sing in the choir before his voice changed?
And you remember that you're not to let anyone else in this house while I'm gone. It's a promise.
Well, Martha, I think we can do that now that Mortimer's cooperating with us. Well, all right, Mortimer.
All right. Have you got any paper? There's a man I need to see.
Here's some stationery. Will this do?
Yes, perfect. I can save time if I write my review on the way to the theater.
Mortimer didn't seem quite himself today.
I think that's only natural. I think I know why.
Why?
Well, he's just become engaged to be married. I suppose that always makes a man nervous.
Well, I'm so happy for Elaine. And their honeymoon ought to give Mortimer a real vacation. I don't think he got much rest this summer.
Well, at least he didn't go kiting off to China or Spain.
Could never understand why he wanted to go to those places.
I think for Mortimer, the theater has always seemed pretty small potatoes. He needs something big to criticize. Something like the human race.
Abby, if Mortimer's going to join us for the funeral, we'll need another hymnal. There's one in my room.
No, dear, it really is my turn to read services, but since you weren't here when Mr. Hoskins came, I want you to do it.
Oh, well, that's very nice of you, but are you sure you want me to?
It's only fair.
Well, in that case, I think I'll wear my black bombazine and mother's old brooch.
Who do you suppose that is? I'll let them in.
Well, we promised Mortimer we wouldn't let anyone in.
But who do you think it is?
I'll look. It's two men, and I've never seen them before.
Are you sure?
There's a car at the curb. Must have come in that.
Let me look.
Do you recognize them?
They're strangers to me.
Well, we'll just have to pretend we're not home.
Come in, Doctor. This is the home of my youth. As a boy, I couldn't wait to escape from this place. But now, I'm just happy to escape back into it.
Shucks, honey. It's a fine hideout.
The old family must still live here. There's something so unmistakably Brewster about the Brewsters. I wonder if there's a fatted calf awaiting the return of the prodigal.
Shucks, honey. I'm hungry. Look, Sonny. Drinks.
As though we were expected. A good omen.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Why, Aunt Abby? Aunt Martha? It's Jonathan.
You get out of here.
It's Jonathan. Your nephew, Jonathan.
Oh, no, you're not. You're nothing like Jonathan, so don't pretend you are.
But I am Jonathan. And this is Dr. Einstein.
And he's not Dr. Einstein either.
Not Dr. Albert Einstein, Dr. Herman Einstein.
What are you doing here? Who are you?
I still see you're wearing the lovely garnet ring that Grandma Brewster bought in England. And you, Aunt Martha, still the high collar to hide the place where Grandfather's acid burned.
His voice is like Jonathan's. Have you been in an accident?
No. My face. Yes, that would be Dr. Einstein's doing. He's a plastic surgeon. He changes people's faces.
But I've seen that face before. Remember, Abby, when we went to the movies with that little Schultz boy? I was so frightened. It was that face.
A good job, ladies. You see, I gave Johnny 3 new faces in the past 5 years. And well, the last time I operated, I saw that picture too, and well, I was intoxicated.
You see, Doctor, you see what you've done to me. Even my own family.
Easy, Johnny, easy. You're home now. This lovely house. How often he tells me about Brooklyn, about his family, about his aunts that he loves so much. You know it's Johnny. Tell him so. Tell him.
Well, Jonathan, it's been a long time. What have you been doing all these years?
Yes, where have you been?
Oh, I've been around. England, South Africa, Australia. The last 5 years, Chicago. Dr. Einstein and I were in business there together.
Well, we were in Chicago last year for the World's Fair. Yes, we found Chicago awfully warm.
Sure, it was too hot for us as well.
Well, aunties, it's been wonderful to be in Brooklyn again. And you, Abby, Martha, you don't look a day older. Just as I remember you. Sweet, charming, hospitable, and dear Teddy. Did he ever get into politics? My little brother, Doctor, was just determined to be president.
Teddy's fine, just fine, and Mortimer's well, too.
Yes. I've seen his picture at the head of his column. He's evidently fulfilled all the promise of his early, nasty nature.
We're very fond of Mortimer.
Well, Jonathan, it's been very nice seeing you, but
Thank you, Aunt Martha. It's good to be home again.
Well, we mustn't let what's on the stove boil over.
yes, if you'll excuse us for a moment, unless you'd like to go somewhere.
Look out, Johnny. We got to move quick. Please, save a picture of that face. We got to find a place for me to operate right away. We've got to find a place for Mr. Spinozzo, too.
Don't waste any worry on that rat.
But, Johnny, you can't leave a hot stiff in the rumble seat.
Forget Mr. Spinozzo.
Kid, we shouldn't have killed him, Johnny. He was a nice fellow. Gives us a ride, and what happens?
He said I looked like Boris Karloff. That's your work, Doctor. You did that to me.
Don't worry, Johnny. I'll fix you up right away.
Tonight.
Tonight. But, Johnny, I'm tired. I'm hungry.
Well, Jonathan, we're glad you remembered us and you took the time to come in and say hello, but you were never happy in this house and we were never happy when you were in it, so we've just come to say goodbye.
Aunt Abby, I can't say that your feeling towards me comes as a surprise.
You were quite
I've spent a great many years regretting the many heartaches I must have caused you as a child.
were quite a trial to us, Jonathan.
But my great disappointment is for Dr. Einstein. You see, I promised him that no matter how rushed we were in passing through Brooklyn, that we'd make time to stop by for one of Aunt Martha's home-cooked meals.
Oh, I'm afraid there wouldn't be enough.
Well, Abby, it's a pretty good-sized pot roast.
Pot roast!
I think the least that we could do is...
Bless you, Aunt Martha. We'll stay to dinner.
Well, I'll hurry it along.
Jonathan, if you want to freshen up before dinner, you can use the washroom in Grandfather's old laboratory.
Is that still there?
Oh, yes, just as it was. Well, I'll help Martha get things started in the kitchen, since we're all in a hurry.
Well, we get a meal anyway.
Grandfather's laboratory. And just as it was, Doctor, the perfect operating room.
Shame we can't use it.
Why, after you've finished with me, we could make a fortune here. The laboratory, that large ward in the attic, 10 beds, Doctor, and Brooklyn is crying for your talent.
Why work yourself up, Shawnee? Shawns, they don't want us here. And for Brooklyn, I think we're here too late.
Oh, you don't know this town like I do, Doctor. Practically everyone in Brooklyn needs a new face.
But so many old faces are already locked up.
A very small percentage. And the boys in Brooklyn are famous for paying generously to stay out of jail.
That would be nice. Staying here, this house, with your aunts, such sweet ladies. I love them already. I go get the bags, yeah?
Hold a moment, Doctor, please. We haven't been invited yet.
But you just said.
We'll be invited.
And if we're not?
Doctor, 2 helpless old women.
Oh, Johnny, it's like a dream come true. Only, I hope you're not dreaming. It's so peaceful here.
Yes, Doctor, that's what makes this house so perfect for us. It's so peaceful.